The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland, which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, a local truck company changes its safety procedures following the Humboldt bus crash.
Gas continues to break all-time price records.
And we visit two high-tech Surrey schools and see what's new in education.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Josh Kilner.
And I'm Srishti Gangdev. In the wake of the Humboldt tragedy, many truck companies are looking at how they approach safety. Ahmadullah Ramat tells us about one firm that has developed its own safety culture, in addition to the required rules.
Being behind the wheel of a big truck carries big responsibilities. Any shortcomings could lead to horrific incidents.
Oh yes, some of the scary ones I used to drive at night, Mary Hill. Guy cuts you up, goes up this road. It was a slippery road, and the guy lost control. He hit the rail, it was flipped over. That's it. There was just in like seconds, all this happened.
Following the tragic bus crash with a semi-truck, the owner of this local truck company has been more cautious.
Nobody wants to see that, and we don't want that to happen again. So I think we're just being more diligent, and with the policies and procedures that we have, we've added such things as GPS on our trucks, and that not only tells us where the driver is with the vehicle, it also lets us know like how fast they're traveling, their braking style or the acceleration and so forth.
Drivers hired by SPN must abide by the company's own safety policies as well as those set out by the National Safety Code. The company has its own road test as well as reference and driver history checks. Not meeting these qualifications would disqualify the driver for the job, and this driver says he likes the company's approach.
These guys, they give you a road test. They check your background, your abstract, and see how many points and this and that. It's good. We want that. We know what we're doing. When you go to ICBC and get your license, you're new. A lot of people are new drivers. But when you come on the road, it's totally different ball game. You need to have the experience. You gotta know to backing up a 53-footer, it's not easy.
According to the National Safety Code, truck companies in BC are not required by law to take new drivers for a road test before hiring them. If companies like SPN Services Ltd takes them for a road test before hiring them, it is considered above and beyond safety regulations. For BCIT Magazine in Coquitlam, I am Ahmadullah Ramat.
Record-breaking gas prices have made Vancouver the most expensive city to buy fuel in Canada. As Daria Zargar reports, one Surrey dad says the rapid spike may force his family out of the province.
Canadian drivers won't be getting a break anytime soon when it comes to fueling up at gas stations. Vancouver's gas prices hit yet another all-time high this week, and for some families, it's the last straw.
I'll probably end up having to leave the province, to be honest with you. It would just affect it. More money you spend on gas, less money you spend on your family, and that's what it comes down to. So families first over gas or anything. So you gotta do what you gotta do,
Vancouver is now the most expensive place to buy gas. Victoria coming in second, and prices are just expected to climb.
We predicted this to be the most expensive price year for gasoline going back to 2014. I knew it was going to rise. I just didn't think it would be this high. So anything's possible now in a world where supply and demand have come back into balance, in which even big speculators are starting to look at with envious eyes.
McTeague says several culprits are driving this steady increase, including refineries being shut down in the U.S., the weakness of the Canadian dollar, and changing refinery methods for the summertime. Drivers like this father of four are hoping for some relief.
Think about the the families that you're affecting, you know, just trying to get their kids to, you know, school or sports, that, you know, that you're just making it that much tougher for them.
McTeague predicts gas prices to decrease sometime in mid-October, but says they may stay high until late December. For this family, that could mean even more issues. Daria Zargar in Surrey for BCIT Magazine.
Eagles are dying, and lead shot used in hunting could be the reason. An environmental activist is calling for a lead shot ban in BC. Carol Zhu has more.
Eagles are born to soar high. Unfortunately, it may take a while before this eagle can fly again.
Last couple of months, we've had 7 that have died and 2 that are currently on the cusp.
Hope says the reason is lead poisoning. Lead shot is banned in BC, but only applies to when hunting waterfowl.
Unfortunately, with people do trap shooting or upland game birds, they use lead, and any of that lead is left on the ground or in the environment.
A lead fragment the size of a grain of rice can poison an eagle in just 24 hours. If they're rescued, there may be a chance of survival, but if not,
they'll die. It's just a matter of time. If they can't defend themselves, they can't find food, they're basically just gonna lay, hide, try and survive until they die.
Eagles are not the only victims. The center has rescued lead-poisoned owls as well. Both are predators at the top of the food chain. Without them, the world would be filled with rodents. Colin raises mice in the center to feed the birds.
Well, if we didn't have raptors to control this, we would be totally overrun with rats, mice. They can have a litter every 20 days.
Hope says it's important to educate the public about the alternatives to lead shots.
When an animal is struck with lead, the lead actually fragments, but the new copper bullets on the market are actually quite efficient.
Hope says lead poisoning in wildlife is preventable.
Seeing the first-hand effects that it has on these animals, to have a bird come into your care and watch it die, you know, isn't easy. The ones we're getting is probably a small portion of what's out there. We just happen to be lucky that people have found these animals to give them a chance.
I'm Carol Xu in Delta for BCIT Magazine.
We are now joined by our reporter Carol for more on this story. Carol, how can our viewers tell if a raptor is suffering from lead poisoning?
Shrishti, a lead-poisoned raptor may be unable to stand because of muscle weakness or loss of control. It may have visual problems that may lead to a secondary injuries such as collisions with power lines or cars. Anyone that see a raptor that seem to have breathing problems, full or partial paralysis of wings or legs, it may be suffering from lead poisoning, Shrishti.
What can our viewers do if they find an injured or poisoned raptor?
Shrishti, anyone that found an injured raptor should contact Owl Orphan Wildlife immediately. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Carol. Coming up after the break. 2 BCIT students developed an allergen-friendly milk.
And BCIT helps students de-stress during exam season.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Welcome back. BCIT Sea Cadets had the chance to meet one of Canada's most decorated naval commanding officers before she begins her newest tour in the Arctic. My co-anchor Shristi Gangdev spoke with Commander Michelle Tessier about the trip and being a woman in the Navy.
Because all you're thinking is, oh my God, we're all going to die.
Commander Michelle Tessier says the strangest experience of her time in the Royal Canadian Navy was being in an ice-breaking ship for the first time last year. She spoke to BCIT Nautical Sciences students Wednesday when she stopped by the school's marine campus in North Vancouver.
You end up going full on your throttles, and you're driving into it, and the ship will either continue to break through it, or it'll ride up on the ice, and then there's a shudder, and it breaks down through it. And at one point, we broke down through it, the ship came to a complete stop, and then listed about 3 degrees to starboard. And that was when my heart really came up in my throat. I thought I was going to throw up.
Starting next year, though, she'll be at the helm of a specially designed new Arctic patrol ship. She's been named the designated commanding officer of the HMCS Margaret Brooke. The name of the ship has huge significance. For the first time in Canadian naval history, the namesake of the ship is a female war hero. Last year, Tessier was named one of Canada's top 100 most powerful women by the Women's Executive Network.
I grew up in a family where there were only girls, and we always had to do all the chores. There was nothing that was a girl's job or a boy's job. It was just jobs that everyone had to do. And perhaps that's why I never looked at it from that perspective. I never really gave it a second thought that maybe this isn't something I should do because I'm female.
Tessier says the new patrol is important to establish as international interest in the Canadian Arctic grows.
The archipelago up there is Canadian territory. Those are our territorial waters. And the Northwest Passage runs through Canadian waters. And to not be aware of what is transiting our own waters would be negligent on our part as a military.
The HMCS Margaret Brooke is set to launch in July 2019. The namesake's niece, also named Margaret Brooke, will be christening the ship in her honor. At the helm will be Commander Michelle Tessier. Surrey in North Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
The BC government recently invested $64 million in the Surrey School District. Our reporter Laura Johnston visited 2 innovative high schools to see what the future of education will look like.
A 3D printer may not seem like something you'd normally see in the average classroom, but Cheryl Chen is not an average student. She attends the Surrey Academy of Innovative Learning.
At SAIL, this is my first year. I'm in STEAM X, which is an accelerator program where they do 8 and 9 1 year, and overall they just finish all of high school in only 3 years. In math, for example, we are completely self-paced. We can have, grade 7 students doing grade 12 pre-calculus.
Now, the new BC curriculum has been designed with a tech-forward model in mind, and new schools being built will reflect this.
Schools used to be designed basically on a factory, a church, and a prison. And so now the design is basically based on the kind of learning that students are doing. So if we're doing innovative, collaborative work with students, then our spaces have to be flexible.
Baelish Secondary School in Clayton is the first new high school built in Surrey in 12 years. Opening in September, the school's design directly focuses on the flow of subjects and workspaces.
So rather than a focus on just knowing and being able to reproduce information, the new model is know how do. So learning how to learn. We've always known that that's important, but now the curriculum allows us to have students focus on that learning process. So that significantly changes what students do in the classroom and how teachers teach.
Soon, students like Cheryl will have the opportunity to learn in spaces like this all the time.
I love this room religiously. Yeah.
Laura Johnston in Surrey for BCIT Magazine.
2 BCIT students are finalists for a national product development contest. Aya Benasso spoke with the team to find out more about their creation.
Sure, this looks like milk, but it's actually made out of pumpkin seeds. 2 BCIT food technology students have created hempkin. Nancy Mack and Katie Haddad made this vegan substitute for people with dietary restrictions.
We invented it based off of doing a non-allergen milk alternative, since soy, almond, and cashews are very much a major allergen in Canada. Rice and oat milk are high in carbohydrates, so they're high in sugar.
And they also lack the proteins and other nutrients that our people really need.
They entered their product into the Marvin Tongue contest. Dubbed Mission Delicious, the event is a national competition for post-secondary students. The teams were tasked to create an innovative and nutritious food product containing local ingredients with a clean label. 6 teams pitched their products to a judges panel full of food industry executives. They ate tasted, drank, and deliberated to choose a winner.
All the ideas are such good ideas, and it's honestly such a surprise, especially because we didn't think that we'd be able to beat a lot of our classmates because we saw so much work go behind it, and honestly, we also love their product. I know, right? We're kind of shocked right now.
Ariella Badenas made it to nationals with her product back in 2015. She says it led her to pursue her own business. She now sells her product online and at farmers markets.
It's about saying yes to the idea and learning how to start with it and just being dedicated to being committed to your product and believing in your business.
The winning team will go on to compete at the CIFST National Product Development Contest at the end of the month. Aya Benasso in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
Also at BCIT's Burnaby campus, the library is hosting some events to help students deal with the stress of final exams. My co-anchor Josh Kilner attended a stretching session.
It's exam season at BCIT, which means students will be spending more time at the library. These long-haul study sessions mean many students are looking for outlets to help them deal with the pressure. The library is hosting an exam jam to help students de-stress. One of these events, the Study Stretch, is aimed at helping students take a break to ease their minds. Nuclear medicine students Alicia Meyenberg and Courtney Lum say physical activities are a good break from studying.
We have about 9 courses right now, so it's pretty crazy. We have lots of stuff going on. I think our first midterms is Friday, so I'm starting to feel the pressure for sure. It was really nice to have a good stretch.
Both of us like exercise and it helps clear our minds, so just having like a small just kind of stretch session in between studying really helps.
The de-stressing events are spread out throughout the week. Students are encouraged to get up and away from their desks to help them recharge mentally and physically.
Studies show that if you just take a break every 45 minutes to kind of regenerate yourself or focus something or take a little bit of break and move, you'll study better and you'll be less likely to kind of cramp up and be sore.
The events conclude at the end of the week. Josh Kilner in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine. Coming up after the break, little free libraries are heating up Port Coquitlam.
And the Port Moody Seniors Friendship Society introduces a new game day.
Standby graphics, ready camera one.
If you want to experience the fast-paced world of news,
Today on BCIT Magazine, striking,
make magic on a movie set,
frame,
and action,
or bring your creative ideas to life, BCIT's hands-on training will get you started. BCIT Television and Video Production. Your possibilities start here.
I chose BCIT because I know that all the programs are very hands-on. We have our own radio station, like it's one of the best programs that I've ever heard of.
I am starting a job on Monday, so confidence is high.
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be this fun.
This is Community Calendar, and here are some fun events for you to do this upcoming week. Have a fiesta on the Fraser River with Vancouver Paddle Wheeler River Boat Tours. Latin music, Mexican food, and festive drinks will be served to spike your night.
Cheers!
Cheers!
After a fun Cinco de Mayo, the annual BMO Vancouver Marathon is happening on Sunday. You can forget about all the tequila you drank by running the full 41-kilometer run or the half 21-kilometer run. Or if you're like me, you'll be cheering on the runners from the sidelines. Woo! Go Aaron!
Fierce. If none of your photos from Cinco de Mayo or the marathon turned out right, you can go to Abbotsford and take a beginner level photography course. And then hopefully your photos will turn out better next time.
By the end of the week, we're sure you're ready for another drink. So why not rock out with the Eagles on stage? You may not be joining them at Hotel California, but you can have a beer while they sing on stage.
Well, that's it for Community Calendar.
Cheers.
Welcome back. A local building company in Port Coquitlam is building free little libraries with a twist. Our reporter Sean Holden went to find out why.
Carpenters often have to redo their work, but not often because of petty crime.
Well, it's disappointing, but I mean, I don't think, it's an opportunity to rebuild and do it over again. It's not the end of the world. It can be rebuilt, and we'll hopefully build another one that's maybe a little better and bigger.
What's really disappointing was Gaylor's company built the city free little public libraries, and at night on April 23rd, vandals torched one of their libraries in a book burning.
Some very, very unpleasant thoughts of whoever would be burning a public library like that. But I also thought, you know what, we could probably build one with fire-resistant materials.
Little libraries will now be constructed out of non-flammable plywood and turn the tide against arsonists and petty crooks.
We see it here at the store. We've had higher incidences of people shoplifting, and it's an unfortunate part of a whole bunch of things that come into play.
RCMP state it's relatively safe in the area, but their recent attention has been on several hotspots in Port Coquitlam.
It's good now that they shut down the crack house up the road, but that's the only time we had any crime around here, when all the druggies were around.
Anderson says he's proud to have a little library on his property.
It's a good little place for the kids to come and grab books, even adults come and take a look through them.
Take a book and leave a book. It's a simple exchange, but for people in the community like Dave, they feel like it brings the community closer, despite whatever might be happening, such as vandalism or theft. Sean Holden in Port Coquitlam for BCIT Magazine.
Who would have thought a right hook could be a remedy for Parkinson's disease? Dan Mountain has the story of how one man uses boxing to fight the illness.
1, 2, 3. Husband, father, engineer. These are all words that describe Vancouver resident Floris Van Wielderen. Now, we can add the word boxer to that list. In 2011, Floris's life changed when he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's is an uncurable disease where patients find themselves having difficulty controlling their movements over time. For Floris, it changed the way he was able to exercise.
I did CrossFit for 5 years. I've done Krav Maga as well. And I stopped doing that for 3 or 4 years after I was diagnosed with Parkinson's because I wasn't able to participate in the classes.
Then, Floris found rock-steady boxing. Now, Floris found a place where he can exercise with other people with Parkinson's, which helps him to fight back against his disease. It also helps that the class is taught by his wife, Amy. She says the exercise and motion training helps to slow the progression of Parkinson's disease.
It's pretty inspiring to see them because they see the results. And it is like a medicine. They have to do it to feel better, and they do.
Floris is one of the founding members of the Vancouver branch. He says his year and a half of boxing has helped him tremendously, but it doesn't make it any easier for the couple to talk about it.
We're still in denial about the whole thing, to tell you the truth.
It's very hard. It was very upsetting, and it still is sometimes. But you get used to it, and the boxing now is just really fight back.
Floris plans to continue the fight, no matter how far along the disease progresses. For Floris and his boxing group, they plan to stay in the ring and stay in the fight.
I scream, you scream, we all scream for dopamine.
Dan Mountain in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Our reporter Dan Mountain joins us now with more on the story. Dan, tell us what the class was like.
It was truly inspiring, Josh. I'm in my 20s and I was tired just watching these people trying to do their circuits. Some people may think that this is easier than the average boxing class, but I can assure you that is not the case. Josh?
Dan, are they only in Vancouver?
They're actually all across Canada and across the United States, and they actually just recently opened up a new branch in New Westminster. They hope to expand to Abbotsford sometime this summer to get more people into the ring. Back to you.
Thank you, Dan. Have you ever wondered what kind of activities you'll be up to after your retirement? Our reporter Riley Reduc covers what one organization in Port Moody is doing for their seniors.
Loneliness can often be an issue for seniors. However, sometimes it's difficult to meet new people.
the Port Moody Seniors Friendship Society has come up with a new option to try to bring seniors together. From now on, Tuesday will be Crokinole Days at the club. The society believes game days like these will hopefully attract more people. The process started more than 6 years ago with the founder, Tony Pandini.
I was pretty lonely, and I didn't think there was anything to do in Port Moody at the time, especially for seniors.
Pandini understands that life gets busy, however she believes relationships should stay close.
And when you get old, your friends for some reason are busy doing other things, and you get ignored quite a bit, and that's pretty sad.
Shirley Jays is one member of the society who showed up to play Crokinole. Although she's never played before, she had a great time learning the game with new friends.
What's your name? Shirley. Shirley, Bonnie. Well.
Before this place opened, I used to just sit at home after I retired. Nothing to do, no place to go.
She says it's not only refreshing to get out of the house, it's improving her health as well.
It's been really good for my health to come down here because I used to just sit at home and just watch TV. Now I get to come out and I meet all the ladies, and we have field trips to go to, and it's entertaining.
With all of the different things to do and all of the new people to meet, the Friendship Society hopes to become the go-to location for local elders.
Port Moody is special, I think. We have a little village. You got everything you needed. We only needed a place to go and talk, and we found it.
Oh, no.
Riley Reduke in Port Moody for BCIT Magazine.
If you have any questions regarding the show, you can contact us at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitbroadcastnews.ca. That's our show for this week. I'm Josh Kilner.
And I'm Srishti Gungdev. Thank you for watching this week's BCIT Magazine. We leave you now with views of the Granville Street Bridge.